One. Thank you very much. Wow, it's been quite 3 days of learning and insight, and so I truly enjoyed it. So it was very refreshing. So not only by seeing how I knew how vibrant was the South African KM community, but really being here and listening all your stories and great work. So I was quite amazed. So not only refreshing by the content, but also by the weather. It was quite chilly. I didn't expect that, but it was lovely. So congratulations to all of you. And now, I want to see next year on the Mike Award list of winners, some winners from South Africa. You're all ready for it. So please give it a try and get the recognition you all deserved. Just to show you how committed our knowledge manager, and we can see how passionate all the speakers we had are. And I'm a close friend to Rodolphe, and who was his first speaker this morning. And I heard the sad news: his mom passed away last night. And you see how committed he is. He said, "Well, I was committed to talk today, and I'll be there and I will present." So, may her soul rest in peace. And again for Rodolphe, yes, again, very committed guy, and sharing his passion with you, even so his mind was probably somewhere else. So, okay, let me go over my presentation today. So I want to share a lot of things, and I know we are running out of time. So I have 30 minutes, Refilo, right? Well, until noon time. Okay, a bit. Okay, great. So I know a bit how to manage my time. So I want to share a couple of things that I thought also reflect on what we've learned and what we've heard from some of the speakers, and also what's happening in the field of knowledge management. So APQC every year released, they conduct a study that shows a bit the state of KM in the world, and they released some predictions. And at the early in January this year, so they said, well, there are three main aspects of KM that will take the attention, or that organizations are still exploring or struggling with. And one of them is KM and AI partnership. So we have heard a lot about AI, and I just wanted to touch a bit about this because I thought that's something that everyone should be aware of. So if we look at this study, they show a bit what are some of how AI is going to be implemented and is going to help to support knowledge management. So we can see AI to recommend content or knowledge assets. So to push more or less knowledge to whom I need it when they need it. And from the beginning, this was one of the first definitions of knowledge management, right? Being able to provide the right knowledge to the right person at the right time so they can make the right decision, right? So I think technology is going to help a lot. AI is going to help a lot in this field. So generative AI to create new artifact and content. And in fact, that's what we're going to talk about today. AI to identify and surface expertise. So identify subject matter expert, identify critical knowledge. Again, generative AI will be able to help us with that. Intelligent AI driven search. So getting search that, don't only retrieve a document, but probably provide you a solution or some solutions, proven solutions that may have worked in the past. And then team collaborative digital workplace apps that also might be one of the features of generative AI tools. So there was also some data about when organization how ready they are to to embrace and to use this AI technology. So 14% says they're already ready and they already have done it. 28% says they will implement that in this upcoming year, and 53% have a much more long-term view on when and how they will integrate them. Now, early this year, I came across an interesting post on LinkedIn that caught my attention, and I just wanted to share it with you. And it's the concept of digital ghost. So that's a bit scary. The name sounds a bit scary, but let me explain a bit to you what it is all about. So before generative AI, usually when someone was leaving an organization because he or she was retiring or moving to another organization, so they left behind, well, some documents, so their emails, so lots of information that they used. Unfortunately, very often their computers or hard disk are also deleted, so lots of their valuable knowledge, codified knowledge, is gone. But there is still a trace of what you have done. And in the past, this trace was not always digitalized, and it was a bit difficult for everyone to be aware of it and to be able to tap into it. But now that we are moving in the era of generative AI, so we can have this generative AI machine more or less to learn from everything you have created, every conversation you had, every email you sent, and more or less create your ghost or your clone, if you want, your digital clone, right? And this digital clone, even though you left, could continue working for the organization, right? Because they have learned from what you do. So of course, it doesn't have all your experience and so on, but it has access or is able to somehow mimic what you have done and the way you answer email or the way you solve problems. So it may copy your style of working and might be able to somehow, I will say, not completely replace you, but still being able to work on your behalf. So this raises a lot of issues, I guess. So we are already, as knowledge managers, struggling to get people to share their knowledge. But if in addition they know that this knowledge shared, then they will be more or less replaced, or not completely replaced. We cannot replace people, but that the digital ghost will do the work from them, then this raises some questions. So some of the main questions are: what rights do we have on our own digital ghost? Could a company resell or rent your digital ghost, right? Because once you're gone and they have created this digital ghost of you, well, they can keep it for themselves, or they could even potentially sell it or rent it to others. So, I mean, this raises a lot of very interesting questions, because I think the technology is there to create this digital ghost of ourselves, of our employees. And because most of the discussion now are all digitalized and transcripts are created, so generative AI can learn a lot from yourself. And I will really encourage you to do that through any generative AI tool you're using. Ask the tool, what do you know about myself that you believe I don't know about? Okay, so use this script. What do you know about myself that you believe I don't know about? And you will be really surprised about what the machine is going to get in return. And you will see a lot of things that you will not have, that you believe that you have never really shared with the machine, but that somehow the machine was able to read in between the lines. Okay. So again, this raises some interesting questions. There are lots of researchers that are doing that. One of them is Raj Choudhury. He doesn't call it a digital ghost. He calls that codified selves. And in fact, it's not just when you leave the organization. You could have a codified self that assists you and, for instance, answer all the emails or some of the basic emails that you're receiving. So instead of you replying to them, your digital ghost or your codified self could do this work for you. So it could also be your assistant, right? And where you can delegate a lot of trivial tasks that you don't do and that your codified self can do on your behalf. Okay, so that's an interesting concept. I thought that I wanted to share it with you because it will probably come up very soon. And there are already some experiments that have been done using such kind of approach. Now, but we still keep in mind, and we don't hear too much about this, but there are lots of companies that jumped into this, rapidly jump into AI, and now, unfortunately, are realizing that, well, and fired people, and now rapidly realize that, well, maybe they made a big mistake and it's time to rehire them back. And this costs them usually a lot of money if these people are still available. So we see that happening too. There is no so much news on it, but if you really dig into it, you will see that there are a lot of companies that, maybe jumped a little bit too fast into replacing their employees and replacing them by just a generative AI tool. Okay, so what I would like to talk to you about today is about, in addition to this, is about how we link this knowledge and innovation. And we have been talking a lot about it today, over the past 2 days, but I still want to bring it through, present it through a different angle. So we are all faced with a lot of challenges, and these challenges are becoming more and more complex. So we do need all these soft and creative skills to find solution and novel solution to the challenges. And you are all facing challenges. And like I said, this challenging and more complex. So creativity can help to overcome this challenge. And we will see a bit later on, mainly group creativity, because single creativity might not be strong enough. But as you can see in this unified definition of creativity, you see that knowledge is at the core of it. So we don't get idea out of nothing. We get idea based on our past experience, based on things we have seen or we have been exposed to. So knowledge is really at the core of our creativity and in our innovation capability. So, Steve Jobs once says creativity is just connecting the dots. And so the question, and you may have seen this visual that has been circulating a lot over the internet over the past years, where you have this information, and then when you put this information into context, when you add meaning to the connection between this information, you understand how they relate to each other or make sense with each other, then you get knowledge. And then based on how you rearrange this knowledge, so you can use this knowledge and turn it into a cat, or you could turn it into a horse or into a house or it's up to you on how you bring these different ingredients together and mix them together to find a solution. So we can see that knowledge again is at the source of, is a raw material or fuels creativity that might lead to innovation. So how we can only connect the dots that we have identified, right? So, but the question is, okay, what are these dots? What are these dots that we are referring to? So these dots can be simple data, information, people, connecting people with each other, idea, knowledge, content, experience, technologies. This can be a lot of different things, right? And for instance, if we look at the first iPhone was just combining pre-existing technologies together to create a new, but the technology already existed. It was just having this bright idea on how to combine them to create a new generation of phones. So we need to connect the dots, and the dots can be a lot of different things. So the more dots you have access to, the more likely you're able to make connections, and the more likely you're able to come up with a bright and novel idea. Now, if you just have few dots, so you are, of course, limited by your capability to be creative, because you just create based on what you know, what you have access to, right? So this connecting the dots to build creativity was also illustrated by the work of Arthur Koestler on the concept of dissociations. And when you combine two ideas or two products together, you get something new. And that's something we see all the time. So an analogy will be, for instance, taking the table of periodic elements, combining randomly two of them, oxygen and hydrogen, and guess what? You get something new. You get water, right? So if you add to it some oxygen, then you get some fructose. So by combining elements that, of course, work well with each other or combine well with each other, not all combination will work, and you need to find the right one. So there are many examples of dissociation that you may have seen and experienced, and lots of new products or lots of products use this combination. So as a Frenchman, so we eat a lot of croissants. So when you combine a croissant and an American donut, so you get a cronut, right? So that's a popular thing that didn't require too much work, but just combining two existing things, or combining a croissant and a muffin, so you get a cruffin, which is not as popular, but still was also a new way to do it. So you don't need to, okay, it's not really rocket science. It's just finding the right combination. So again, here, a bookshelf and an armchair. So you get this quite impressive armchair. So again, being able to connect the dots means that we know what we know, that we know what these dots are, right? And so, as I mentioned on day one, we see a lot of organization, and I've seen it here also for some of you presenting, doing some knowledge mapping, knowing what you know, okay, knowing what is your critical knowledge is something important to do, because you cannot manage some things that you have not identified. So this is step one, I guess, to get there. Now, if you always, look at your problem, or if you only deal with similar people, so you're looking at the problem so through one lens, so through your orange lens. So every problem will look like an orange dot for you. So what we recommend is that you change your lens, right? So you use different colors. So now suddenly you're gonna address, or you select, or you identify a yellow dot, and then you mix it with a blue dot and you get a green dot, right? So, and you do like this by accessing, or not just staying into your bubble, but looking outside and looking for new ideas, new technologies, new approaches. So you can change also the size of your glasses, right? So you will get some small idea here, some big idea over there. So it's not just about the color, it's about the size too. And guess what? You can also change the shape of your glasses, right? And suddenly get access to completely new and novel ideas or knowledge completely outside of your domain. So we have to be aware that there is your knowledge, so the knowledge we possess. Then there is the knowledge of our team, of our group, the knowledge of our unit, of our company, the all knowledge that is available in this world or in your industry. And then there is a lot of, there is a lot of unknown, right? So I think I mentioned this already on day one. So we know less than 1% that it is to be known in this world. So there is still a lot of unknown knowledge. But the thing is that you should not just limit yourself to your knowledge that you possess or that your team possess, but you should try to get deeper. So how do you create this environment that fosters diverse connection and sparks creativity? So there are two main approaches. There is a very good book that I will encourage you to read. It's called Rebel Ideas by Matthew Said. And let me explain briefly the concept. So imagine that this is a problem, okay, that which is framed into this box. And then you have an intelligent individual. So intelligent maybe is a big word, but you have a skilled individual. And then, so this skilled individual, if the problem is simple, this individual will be able to solve it by himself or by herself. Okay? Now, if you have a complex problem, it's very unlikely that one single individual will be able to have all the skills and knowledge to solve it. So this person will have part of the answers maybe, but will not be able to solve these complex problems that we have. So if you bring a team of people to solve this problem, But if this team member all have the same background or the same view of things, so that's what we call groupthink, then you're not gonna be able to solve your entire problem, right? There is still a lot of white space here. So, and very often that's what happens in organizations, that people who look alike or come from the same background work together to solve problem. And when you want to solve complex problem, you need to look elsewhere and not just stick with the same people. So you need to bring together people who have cover different range of knowledge, of skills, of experience. And then collaboratively, you're more likely to be able to address your challenge. So if you get having a lot of people having diversity, but the diversity which does not really cover the domain that you're trying to solve will not help either, right? So you also want to make sure that people that you bring together somehow can contribute to solve this particular problem. Now, if you have also a dominant leader that leads this team, even so the team member cover all the scale, all the space of these challenges. But if someone says, I'm the boss, you should follow my ideas and I know the answer and so on, then you're going to go back to a kind of scenario number one, where you have a clone of people, and in fact, they are not given the opportunity to suggest ideas and so on. So I like this analogy because it helps to show that, yes, you need to be able to, you need diversity and you need to be able to identify who knows what, so you can put together this team. So you need cognitive diversity, but also you need, it's nice to have people who have this knowledge, but you need also people who feel safe to share and work with each other, to acknowledge their failures and so on. So team psychological safety, I mean, a lot of work done by Amy Edmondson from Harvard on this topic, is also creating the climate that will make the team be able to work together, solve problem, and openly share challenge and so on. So if you don't know anything about team psychological safety, Google it. There's a lot of interesting insights that was done. Now, another way to look at it is to look at so connection, bringing diversity together and connecting people. Second thing is based on my own experience. So I guess you don't know what happened on that particular date. That's a date where I had to fight very hard to become someone, right? So you don't recognize me now, maybe a bit better, but that's the day I was conceived. And 9 months later, this is where I came to this world. So that's the first time I experienced serendipity, because it was not a given that I would be the one. And by chance, I was the one, and I'm here today with you. So serendipity is also a very, very important concept that I believe can play a very, very big role in helping knowledge and innovation to be happening. So definition of serendipity, these are some of the keywords that comes very often. So change, unexpected, accidental discovery, valuable, which is very, very important. So a short definition, finding something good without looking for it. So something happens and wow, you're lucky it happens, and so on. Oops. Well, I had a little activity, but we'll probably skip it for today, and it was in the wrong order anyway. So what I was going to do, and I know we are running out of time, so I will not engage into it, because what I wanted you to do, and I will still tell you, just to get together and share and try to find out something that you have in common in between you guys in a small group. And you will see it's always happen. I mean, you always have something, not just knowing someone or whatever, but you have always something that you have in common that you're not aware of, but just by engaging in discussion, you will discover it. Okay, so because we are running out of time, I'm skipping this part for today. So serendipity provides new insight or perspectives that push the boundary of existing knowledge, because you are able to make these connections that you will have not expected or that you didn't think could make a difference. So how can generative AI can help into this? Well, generative AI is good at, well, exploring a wide, large amount of data and information internally in your organization or even outside, and then being able to potentially identify this connection that might be very, very useful. So that's what, if we go back to the Seki model from Nonaka, that's really the combination part, which was, I guess, one of the weakest up to now into managing knowledge or following this flow. And now generative AI is able to help us a lot with combining this codified knowledge and trying to find good things. So generative AI can expose us to more novel dots, right? Or more novel idea, knowledge, or whatever that we didn't think about to start with. And then later on could potentially also identify some meaningful connection. But again, here meaningful, the machine doesn't know what is meaningful and what is not meaningful. So I guess we human still have to see what potentially has value or not. But at the end of the day, we also need to have a prepared mind, right? So if we are not open to explore this potentially new connection or this potentially new idea, then, I mean, they might be presented in front of us, but if we are not curious or don't want to learn more about it, we might miss these opportunities, right? So, also like this quote, so the most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not eureka, but, oh, that's funny. Oh, right? So, oh, I didn't expect this, right? So let me further explore, let me further dig into this space. And there are lots of medications that were discovered for this. One of them is penicillin. Again, having Alexander Fleming living in vacation for 15 days and coming back and looking back at his lab and seeing some strange things happening, and that trigger his interest and say, oh, what happened here? And that's how we got our first antibiotic. And another one that some of us might know about is Viagra, which was also came out of serendipity, right? And where there was Pfizer was doing some research on cardiovascular disease and saw that there was an interesting side effect happening on male patients. And they say, haha. Well, so they forgot about the cardiovascular treatment, but they took in consideration the side effect. Yes. And so I guess, so again, a lot of different applications of serendipity. So serendipity, to some extent, even so it happened by chance or by hazard, can somehow be managed. So, and again, generative AI can help to trigger some unexpected events, so push to you maybe some interesting new ideas or new concept or new knowledge, and then later on being able also to potentially test it at a larger scale or whatever. But we still need human in the loop, and that's something which is important to keep in mind. So how do you cultivate serendipity in your work environment? So increase opportunities for employees to meet, talk, and share. Okay, I guess that's, that's what we're also preaching in terms of knowledge managers. Increase opportunities for employees to meet people outside the company environment. So coming to conferences like this or attending different other conferences, even in a completely different field. And again, that's where you connect that's where you start wearing different lenses and get to meet people who are working on different field, but that somehow could relate it to you. Better manage what you know, bring diversity into your team. And again, being able to look for also weak signal, things that seems curious or not happening frequently yet, but that can grow over time. keep an open mind, allow risk and failure. Again, being able to allow people to fail and recognize failure. Don't punish it. Okay, recognize and encourage people to fail. There is no innovation happening. I mean, you cannot innovate without failing. So failing is a path to success and innovation. So don't punish, but just learn from your failure, right? And see, okay, let's make sure we don't repeat this mistake. But this is, if you capture it and if it's properly shared, then others will not repeat the same failure in the future. So that's something which is of value. And then, yes, generative AI is a new tool that can help also in supporting these serendipitous events. So if we have seen further, it's by standing on the shoulder of giants, and we have seen that a lot, and we heard this sentence a couple of times here. So if we already know what we know, we can build on the shoulder of the giants. The future is in the past. That's again open to discussions, and this is also something we've discussed over the past few days. So knowledge management is managing what we have experienced in the past. So I call it the old knowledge, but it's not so old, but it's behind us, right? And innovation is looking ahead, looking for new knowledge and new connections. So we might think that there is a bit of conflict between them, but in fact, there is not. And our speaker yesterday, Enra Meyer, kind of nicely illustrated it, that KM without innovation or innovation without KM were not very effective. But when they are combined together, then they bring value to the organization. So we need what we call organizational ambidexterity. So we need to know what we know, and we need also to explore what we don't know. And this organizational ambidexterity means that you need to have in your organization, you need to manage what we know. So this is us, knowledge managers, but we need also to explore for new knowledge. So that's more the innovation part. And you need to balance both, right? So maybe you have most of our organization, maybe will have a heavier weight on managing what we know, because it has direct and immediate application, where imagine what we don't know might be seen a bit as a future, but future happens rapidly, and we need also, as we saw with Global Mike Award winners on day one, when they manage their portfolio of innovation, they put more and more emphasis on nowadays on looking at the future than they used to do in the past. So I'm just keeping all of this. And just a last exercise, just to show you the value of knowledge. Okay, think about how could you remove the water from this glass without touching it? Think about how many different ways you can think of to do that. So you have this glass of water in front of you. You want to remove the water out of it, but you're not allowed to touch the glass. So how many different techniques can you think of to do that? Yeah, you can use a straw, so by aspiration, yeah. You can shake the table, yes, until the water come out, yes. You can put it on the sun, so you have evaporation, yes. Yes, you can eat it, okay? Yes? You erase the word? Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. You get something to absorb it. Okay. Well, usually, yes. I mean, if we just think and we spend a bit of time, we're going to come up with 5, 6, 7 ways to solve it. Well, in fact, there are 45 different ways to do it, right? So as you can see that there is a lot of knowledge that, of course, all of us don't know about this and cannot know about all of them. But in this case, if you do just, let's say, a patent research, right? So you go through patent databases and you look at all the different techniques that were developed in the past, you can identify 45 of them. So you can see that we are limited in terms of, as human beings, of what we can do. But again, through the use of powerful tool like we have nowadays access to AI or whatever, we can get much more knowledge and make much better and better informed decisions. So again, the knowledge that we have access to is much bigger. So just my last slide. Sorry, I've been a bit over time. So just to summarize, yes, generative AI or AI in general is great, but it has its limitation. Be aware of it. And as Dr. Paul mentioned on day number 1, AI is very good at solving well-defined problems. So first identify what challenges you face, look at how AI can help you address this, and then you will not have this problem. So that's one of the things you need to keep in mind. Yes, we need to connect the dots. Again, connecting people, connecting ideas, connecting knowledge. So in order to do that, you need to be able to identify them. So do some knowledge mapping, knowledge audit, all kind of activities like this. Look for knowledge also, which is not only internal, but external to your organization. When you bring team together, make sure that you get diversity in your teams and make sure that you build also team psychological safety so they can be as effective. And when Google, they did a study 10 years ago to try to identify what are the factors of their most successful teams. What they came up with at the end was teams that have team psychological safety, where people, it's not like they are friends with each other or whatever, but people have created an environment where they can debate, where they can share failure, but they collaboratively trust each other and support each other and build on these learnings. Serendipity is something that you need to try to make happen or support and try to create opportunities for your employees to do that. Generative AI can be part of the solution, but as you could see on the long list, it was just one of many. Again, keep your mind open, and when you get surprising things, or be curious and explore what's probably unusual, and try to also work on this and be dexterity. Don't just rely on the past, but also look for what's next, and bench learning. I've heard it many times again. Happening is one way to do that. So again, I'm just preaching for the Mike Award, but remember, one of the benefits of the Mike Award is that even if you participate, even if you don't get the award, you have access to all the application of all the other companies that have applied, so you can learn a lot from them. Thank you very much. Hang out with people who are different from yourself. This will get you a way to do things differently. Thank you so very much. I was delighted to be here.